Alright, Marvel Comics presents. These are at the beginning of my Wolverine box. And mainly because with Marvel Comics Presents, before Wolverine had his own series, they kind of used this. And what they did is they featured about three different characters. You can see Man-Thing, Master of Kung Fu, Silver Surfer. But, you know, they always had the main one. Like here in the second issue, you can kind of see, once again, Master of Kung Fu, Man-Thing, and Captain. Which would have been Captain America after he gave up his shield. Because he didn't like what the government was doing way back in the day. So I got these. God, these came, I think I talked about it in my Excalibur video. I talked about how I had picked up the first 20 issues of Excalibur from the classified issues. Or the classified ads. I had ended up going to pick it up. And I think I spent like $60, $65 there. And one of them were the first 60 issues of Marvel Comics Presents. And like I said, it's a little weird because these weren't full storylines. They were broken up. You can see, you know, Wolverine plus 3 more exclusive features. And you can always see on the back the other ones. So this was a neat precursor to the Wolverine, you know, series that came out. Like here, we switched to Colossus. And still on the back, we got Man-Thing, Slag. So the titles switched over about 3 issues would be a storyline. So that way they can kind of pull more people in. So then you can see Nomad there. And still going to Colossus for about 3 girls. And you see Marvel Girl, Phoenix, question mark. So that would have been when she was in X Factor. And then you've got your Colossus. You know, you've got Longshot here, Kazar, Black Panther. So once again, like I said, it was a precursor. And you kind of see, oh, this one's a little bendy. But who's watching the Watcher? I remember reading this series because it was really good when I got it. Like I said, it was older, but I would have got this in the 90s, and these are probably from the 80s. Ooh, versus the Minions of Masterful. And like I said, Cyclops there, once again, his X Factor costume, uniform. So you see these went with Cyclops. Eventually, it's going to switch back to Wolverine. And like I said, I've got 60 of these issues. I love it. Plus the 3 more all new features. You kind of see on the back for the next issue. '24, introducing the Nth Man, Black Panther, and Havoc. Havoc, you know, Havoc was also Cyclops' brother. I do have, which I'd gotten, I don't know if it's in these box, but there's a Havoc Wolverine mini-series that was like a painted effect. I have that somewhere too. That came with the $65, you know. They didn't send me the 60 issues for $1 a piece. I'd gotten Marvel Comics Presents 1 through 60 for $60. And then the first 20 issues of Excalibur. You see, Havoc and Wolverine. You can see they kind of teamed up. You guys can move the first 30 issues over here as we continue to go through them. Black Panther, Cold Blood, Captain Britain. Look at that, Excalibur's in here. And it was just a way for you to buy. Oh, and also what I'd gotten with the classified ads purchase I did back in the 90s was the 6-issue series of Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. I don't know what box those are in, though. Yeah, these definitely all need to be rebagged and reboarded. If you've been watching my videos, then you know I've got a lot that I need to rebag and board, and bags and boards are also expensive. But like, so, ooh, yeah, and I need to flatten them. Oh, poor issues. You can kind of see that. That's sad. Yeah, so they got Excalibur in here. Like I said, it was Wolverine, mainly, is what I remember, but it seems like there's a lot that they kind of twist about. Oh, see, now we got some that are bagged and boarded. I wonder if I bagged and boarded them eventually, and I was just going backwards, or if these are ones that were bagged and boarded when I purchased them. So same bag for 20 years old cannot be good, but I just don't know what I'm going to do. But these, with the bags and boards, they are just so much stacked nicer. Problem is, with having the boards in there, we can't see the back of it, and I'd have to take each one out, and I'm not going to do that. Like I said, you can kind of see more of the run of just Wolverine. It's amazing. It's the same logo that you'll see throughout almost the entire series. Never really changed his up like they did other ones. So we're going to go back. Ooh, Wolverine vs. Spider-Man. Enough said. Yeah, I'm trying to ramble on. Wolverine, Spider-Man, Silver Surfer, Comet Man. I'm trying to figure out what else I can say to, to make this less me just flipping comic book covers. I've only been getting maybe 30, 40, 50 views a video, which obviously isn't going to get me to my 1,000 subscribers. Isn't going to get me getting monetized. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe because, oh, Great Hulk and Wolverine, that's a cool cover. But either way, please do subscribe because I am unable to round out my collections unless I get an income coming in. And I don't know if YouTube will be anything special, but if you're enjoying these, maybe see if you can find anybody else that enjoys these videos so I can start getting them watched. Oh, look at that one. No bagged or board, but we got the back there. Now, the sad thing about this is I remember this story. One more. Issue 61 would have finished off this Wolverine Incredible Hulk story, and I never picked up issue 61. Something I should probably go back through and do. But those were the 60 issues I had of Marvel Comics Presents, which of course are in my Wolverine board, or Wolverine boxes, mainly because, like I said, it was kind of like the precursor to the Wolverine ongoing series. But these I got with it as well, with the classified mats, the original Wolverine limited series. In the 90s, this was going for like $120 total. $40 for issue 1, I think 30 for issue 2 and 3, and 35. Yeah, I need to get new boards, and you can kind of see, like 35 for issue 4. I got it for $10 back in the 90s. We got issue 95, or not issue 95, but annual 95. Wolverine and Nightcrawler there, annual 96 from his first series. Oh, I guess they did change it a little bit. You can see that Wolverine is different, so I was wrong there. So 97 now. Annual 99. I think I don't have a lot of annual 98s. So they must not have done annuals that year. Annual year 2000 and 2001 annual. And then Flashback. Now it's disappointing because right now I should be grabbing Wolverine issue 1. But it's 53. I thought I had a Wolverine issue 1. I know the comic cover, but it doesn't look like I've got issue 1. And I thought I had issue 50 that was a cutout, so I'm assuming those got misplaced, maybe sold. I doubt I would have sold it, but maybe I sold them to my cousin. My cousin was a huge Wolverine fan, and maybe I sold him some of my earlier issues when I needed money. You can come up to 60. So we're starting at 55, 60, and 72. So yeah, 72 is this. I know I've got to start around 75. Because that is the Fatal Attractions issue. So yeah, coming up, so Fatal Attractions issue 75. I'll throw up the unfolded cover But this one is The Fatal Attractions was a 6-issue series that had to do with Magneto, and in it, in X-Men 25, Wolverine gets his adamantium yanked out. So this is really on the Blackbird on the way back to Earth, to the mansion from Avalon, Asteroid M, whatever he was calling it at the time. And them trying to keep him alive because, you know, his healing factor was having problems with the adamantium. Oh, this is where he had his bone claws snapped. In issue 75 was where we saw his bone claws for the first time. All the way to the Collection of Cyber, who actually has adamantium skin as well. That'll be a little bit of a spoiler for future issues. 81, 82, but didn't really change a lot for the first, or the logo. You can kind of see now it's taller. 84. Yeah, I thought I had more earlier issues of Wolverine, but they must have another box or sold. Oh, that's just sad. And then the Phoenix Covenant. This was a good one. There's this shiny thing. Yeah, a couple of these. So, yeah, it's just a shame. I thought I had Wolverine 1, but I guess I do not. But yeah, these kind of are his journey. So now we're about a year after he lost his adamantium. A year in real time, not comic book time. And he is struggling with the loss of his adamantium. Trying to come back to himself because he was kind of hurt. He was wounded. Oh, in Wolverine 90. This is right before, this was during Legion Quest. And this was right before the Emkron Crystal wiped out the universe. And this is where Wolverine pops a claw into Sabretooth's melon and makes Sabretooth kind of like a kitten. A big deal. And then he retracted it so he didn't kill him. So then he comes back in Wolverine 91. Kind of everybody's mad at him because he injured Sabretooth and almost killed him when he was a prisoner. So we keep going on. We got Wolverine again. You know, his healing factor. I'm trying to remember if he goes more feral in here sooner or later. Yeah, lots of doubles, but then the earlier ones, like I said, that I thought I had are just missing. And then he's fighting the Juggernaut with his bone claws. They started to turn. You got Generation X, kind of a guest starring here in his book. And here he is fighting Vindicator from Alpha Flight. You know, not the Vindicators from Rick and Morty. Then here he is again. I think that's Caliban, Cannonball, Storm from the X-Men. And then we got this one here. Yeah, cool covers for Wolverine. Princess Bar, I think that was in Madripoor. So we'll go back to there. Trying to get to issue 100. And External. Not sure which one. But issue 100, this is where Genesis, Tyler, who is also Cable's adopted son from the future, and tried to redo what Apocalypse was doing, tried to take the adamantium from Cypher, that the guy I talked about before that had the adamantium skin, and had his body eaten by bugs, and all that was left was the adamantium that Genesis was going to force. Oh, see, you kind of see the variant anniversary issue, but he was going to force Wolverine to have his adamantium put back into him as he was trying to become Apocalypse. That didn't really work though. He ended up fighting it back, and that's where he went all monkey-faced and lost his nose.
Hey there, I see you have found some content from Odds and Ends by Jar. So while I got your attention, let me tell you about the types of content we have to offer. First, we have what originally started the channel. How Are We Here? It's my little series on how other, usually older, cultures and religions say we got here. From Australia's Dreamtime to the Christian Gnostics, they are oftentimes very interesting. Hopefully, I'll have a new one posted within the month, so check out the playlist to catch up. My favorites were the Norse and Hindu videos. Judge for yourself which ones you liked the most. Alrighty, thanks for listening to what we here at Odds and Ends, by Jar, have to offer. And who really knows what subject will pique my interest next time? Not me. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so the content pops up in your stream. Now, back to the content you were consuming.
And then Elektra should show up here to help reteach him some of his, oh, there she is. She helps reteach him some of the stuff from Stick that helps him regain some of his humanity. She hung out for a while, and it's actually why eventually I ended up having, well, and this is where we learn Wolverine and Elektra go on a thing, and that's where they see that when Wolverine, or when Professor Xavier wiped out Magneto's mind way back in X-Men 25, Wolverine 75, a piece of Magneto's evil infected Professor Xavier, and that's what caused Onslaught. So those are those issues. You can see the Onslaught, and they wore a bandana. This is just one of the changes they tried to make into him in the 90s. Like I said, he went feral, more beast than man, and Elektra volunteered to help him regain his humanity. So that was kind of that storyline that was going through at this time. So looking at that, got 107. Doubles again, then we got 108. Yeah, I could probably reduce these if I would just take out all my doubles. I'd have a lot more room. But then I have to figure out what to do with the doubles. I thought about selling them on eBay. You know, not that I think I'll make a lot of money for them, but like I said, with trying to get something on YouTube going, trying to do some vinyl cutting, some custom vinyl, any of that. So like I said, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, share the videos. If you like looking at these old titles, what am I supposed to do with all the doubles? One thing that I was going on, I don't know how many of you out there that are watching this have a Ollie's. It turns out I've seen it on the Facebook. You know, lots of people in my one of my Masters of the Universe groups I follow on Facebook likes to share stuff to get at Ross for Less and Ollie's for Masters of the Universe action figures. So we went to Ollie's because I know sometimes people in a comic book collector Facebook page I got likes to collect them, or likes to pick stuff up at Ollie's where they have like 5-packs. Me and the wife actually in Ollie's, don't know when, but we have one in town, which is weird because on the commercial it doesn't have one in the state we're in listed. But they had one, and I picked up, and Captain America. I always love it when Wolverine and Captain America team up. And you kind of see now he's got his bone claws, he's looking less, you know, like a turd. You're a feral monster. Oh, and the 125th issue, and I don't remember the shock ending. Like I said, you know, these issues, I remember the Adamantium storyline, but you got to remember, these issues are from 20 to 30 years ago. The 125, there's another issue of 125, but with the Ollie's, they got 5-packs as well of comics from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And my wife picked me up 2 of the 5-packs. I can see on the outside it has some older of the X-Factor issues. But now it makes me want to see if I can find any old Wolverine issues, because I swear to God I had more pre-70 issues. But I could be wrong. And I don't understand all the doubles I ended up with. The money I wasted. 130. 131. So eventually what I thought with the Ollie's packs is picking up a couple more. And maybe, you know, having me open those here on a video. See if that's something that you guys like to see, some of these older covers. And for me, the collection, the Marvel Universe vs. Wolverine. featuring way too many guest stars to count. And 136, The Collector. You know a little bit of him from the MCU. But, Blood Feud with the Starjammers. You know, that, of course, Corsair, if he's in there, is Scott, Cyclops' dad. Ooh, and Galactus. Come on, Wolverine would be able to take on Galactus. And there's Cable. Cable, once again, is Cyclops' son from the future. Hanging out with Nightcrawler. And that's up to issue 140. 141. 142. Look at that. I think that Black Widow and Alpha Flight. Weapon X War. Oh, that's when we found out that Weapon X Project had, more Weapon X's. They built more into that after I stopped collecting. But issue 145, 25th anniversary, so that must be 25 years of Wolverine in the 12. So Wolverine got his adamantium back when Apocalypse himself forced it on him. And then for a while there was a Skrull who was acting as Wolverine and died by Death, which we would find out later that Death was Wolverine. And then here's the Ages of Apocalypse. Not the same as Age of Apocalypse, but was still pretty cool. A bunch of standalone, different type of universes. So we got 148. Oh no, that's 149. Oh, I was scared for a second because my next one is 150. And then Revolution, I've talked about that before. You kind of see the dynamic, or Certificate of Authenticity for the Dynamic Forces special variant issue. And then we got 151. So we got those there. And let's go up to 154 and 155. Is that Deadpool? That looks like Deadpool. What Lurks Beneath? Guest starting Spider-Man. That would be 156. 157. Trying to figure out who that guy is. Just some creepy guy as they sit against Wolverine. See, Wolverine, he got his own series. That was huge. Back in the 90s and 2000s. Even now, Wolverine is still like the most famous X-Man. One of the most famous superheroes. Probably done by Hugh Jackman. But, as Dr. Cox from Scrubs would say, Hugh Jackman sucks. I'm trying to be nice when I say that. 163. Kirito, I don't know if they want to see your face or if they want to see the comic book covers. 164. Hey, what are we doing? Come on. Hey, buddy. Scooch. Scooch. Come on. Scooch. And then 165. Looks like somebody's trying to read his mind. But after Hugh Jackman played Wolverine in the Marvel X-Men Fox movies, they kind of started making the comic books more like the Fox movies, and I didn't like that. And, then there was Wolverine in the X-Men cartoon, and Wolverine was never supposed to be the star. He was supposed to be the loose cannon. And there's 170 of his first series. I think that would be the Wendigo. But yeah, see, then they put him in his black costume that they made him wear from the X-Men, and I didn't like the black costume. I liked his brown and yellow one better than, or his brown one better than his yellow one. But in the Wolverine series, it was different because it was just about him. And then 175, and you just kind of see he's supposed to be short, stacked, built, but no. Then they kind of made him all cool and tall and. Yeah, I didn't understand. I mean, I do. They were trying to cash in on the public's attention, of course. Wolverine 178. 179. And Wolverine 180. Look, they named it PG, really. But yeah, see, this is what he was supposed to be more like, you know? An animal. But like I said, in the movies, even in the comic books, cartoons afterwards, they tried to make him less an animal and tried to make him the cool guy. And that just wasn't Wolverine. It's like why in Deadpool 3, when they have the comic accurate height Wolverine, it makes you laugh. Or it made me laugh. Because he is supposed to be short. But Hugh Jackman has changed the character. And that happens, I guess. And it's changed more over the past 20 or 30 years, I'd imagine. I don't know why he's wearing a Punisher uniform. But we're closing in on the last I have of his first series. Which, the fact that I've got to 72, which means I've only got to grab the first 70 issues. And then Good Cop, Bad Cop, Part 2, issue 189. 189. And that's it. So is that the last issue? I'll pop up and throw something on the screen. I'll do a little Googling. I can't do it now because I'm using my phone to record this. Looks like his next series. 1. So I'll verify that it restarted, and let's see if I can figure out why. I'll throw up a little screen grab, but yeah, even now you can kind of see who is he trying to be. Even look at these two covers. Which one is it? Who is he trying to be? You know, it just, yeah, 4, 5, like, why would they just reboot it? It's to bring more people in. They did that a lot, especially come to 2005, 2010s, where they kept just restarting series, hoping that that would grab you and pull you in. But I remember nothing of this second series at all. Once again, I think the last 6 months to a year, I was just buying them but not reading them because I wasn't enjoying where they were going. Wow, yeah, I remember nothing of this first series. It's like when they changed Cable to Soldier X. I didn't like the way they went with that. Well, and there's Sabretooth. And they got the Marvel Knights on the top. I think that was to tell them that this was going to be a darker, grittier book. Maybe that's why they redid it, because they're going to go with Marvel Knights. I don't know, like I said, I'll try to throw something on the screen. Otherwise, I'm just rambling. But we're looking at, this second series. I do have the first 19 issues. And of course, like I said, I had done to 189, 72 to 189, so that's over 100 issues, not including the doubles. Alright, so then, what else do we got here? In my Wolverine box, it looks like we have a Weapon X series. 14. 15. So that's weird. I wonder if I have more somewhere. Because I want to start it in the middle. But this must have to do with the other Weapon X's that Sinister must have been involved in. You know, who had he designed. Because, you know, supposedly Captain America, I think, is like Weapon 1. And Wolverine isn't Weapon X, he's Weapon 10. But yeah, with this one, it looks like I've got just 14 through 25. So that's a little weird. Did that take over? So yeah, I'll try to figure out what the heck that Weapon X one was. And look, a Logan one-shot, Shadow Society. Another Logan. These were cool. It was more sketchy. They did more of a Landu Luckman and Lake thing. I can't remember. There was just, they did some more of his Black Ops and stuff. And then the Origin series, where we learned that his name was James Howlett, and he was born with the bone claws. So this is what they did. And if I remember correctly, the Origin was released because of how big Wolverine was getting in the TV or the movies. And they wanted to tell the Origin before the movies did. And then you got Wolverine the End. This is not the same as Old Man Logan. It was different. And they did a couple of the ends back at this time to kind of show potential endings to our favorite characters, favorite series. But I think this was also a 6-issue series. And there you go. There's the Wolverine, the end, Origins, my 2 Wolverine boxes. Not all the miniseries I had with Wolverine. You saw the Gambit Wolverine miniseries in the Gambit box. But, well, this would be the end. The end. Take care. Keep safe.